Hello learners, welcome back. Today we'll see SQL basics for beginners. So SQL is nothing but SQL. In this lecture, we are going to see introduction of SQL, different data types of SQL, commands or subqueries that we say of SQL, constraints, and what are the different SQL best practices. So let's start with introduction. So SQL is a standard language for relational database. It is used to communicate with database. So full form of SQL is structured query language. It is also known or pronounced as SQL or SQL. It allows user to describe the database. It is used to communicate with the database. It executes queries against the database. You can add, drop database, tables, views, stored procedures. User can also retrieve, insert, update, delete data from database. So let's see the graphical representation for database. So database consists of many tables depending on the user choice. So if I consider a single table, a table is nothing but it comprises of columns. Those are vertical set of cells and rows that are highlighted with horizontal set of cells. So column are also known as fields. So I can say this is one field, this is another. Okay. So first cell of every column represents column name. Rows are also known as tuples or records. Another name for table is also known as relation. So now we have got the insight of what exactly the database and what it contains. So this will be the table. These will be the column name, such as if I consider a student table, a student database or a college database. So I have a student table, and thus this will be a roll number, name of a student, address of the student, and phone number. So here row wise, here we'll have three set of students information. Let's move. There are many relational database systems that use SQL languages. Those are MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL Server, MariaDB. These are some of the examples that I've taken for this presentation. There are many different relational database systems such as Sybase, Access, that is Microsoft Access, Ngres, etc. Let's see what are the different data types. Different data types represent different type of information that can be contained in a specific column. We must always specify the type of data that will be inserted in each column of the table. So the data types are divided into three. First is string data type. We have integer data type, other useful data types. So we have string data types. Those are character and value. So here if we say string data type consists of digits, symbols, or blank spaces. With alphabets, we can also make use of digit, symbol, or blank spaces. This will only convey text information. For example, here the address is taken as flat number 4, Park Residency, Mumbai. So here you will see there are digits, there are normal text, we have special symbol, comma, here also you will see, and we also have blank spaces. So this is nothing but string data type. So here there are two types of string data types. First is character, it is represented as char. Second is variable character, which is known as varchar. So these are the keywords, and you will see the keywords are written in uppercase. Just to differentiate that the keyword, these are the SQL keywords. So for that I have written those in uppercases. Now here you will see character has a fixed storage and varchar has a variable storage. Means if I allot 5 for character, then whatever be the size of a string, it will have size as 5 only. Here I have taken an example RAM. This has 5 characters. Okay, there are symbols. I can say a single character, alphabets. Here I have 5 and the size allotted was also 5. Here I have taken RAM. So it has only 3 but I have allotted as 5. So there is 2 bytes. It's not used. When I say varchar or when I use varchar, the storage is variable. So based on my storage, based on the string used, the storage will differ. Like here I have taken Raman. So here it is taken as 5. I have taken Ram. So even if I ask for 5 or allot for 5 bytes, it will only consider 3. So here the length of the symbols here is 3 and the size byte is also 3. Here I have taken a student database. Here I have a table. You can also consider this as a student table. Here I have student roll number. This is column. Column name is roll number 1, name and city. Here I have considered 4 students, Rama, John, Arun and Soma. So here I have taken as name as char 4. So char 4 means there are fixed 4 bytes allotted for name, whereas for city I can use varchar. It depends on the user, but it is flexible to use varchar. Next we'll move to string integer data type. String or text is not equal to numbers. So here we are only just talking about numeric data types. These are divided into 3 types. First is integer, fixed point and floating point. Under integer we are going to see integer. Under fixed point we are going to see decimal and numeric, floating point, float and double. Note, integer data types are signed by default. So now what do you mean by signed? It is the range that includes both positive and negative values. And unsigned is if the integers are allowed to be only positive. Depending on that, you can have signed integer or unsigned integer. Let's talk about integer data type. Here again it is divided into 5 types. First is tiny int, small int, medium int and big int. Here the byte size is given as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 8. These are the minimum value and maximum value. You will see here it is given as minus 128 to 127. So it has minus or negative values as well as positive values. So this I can say as this is signed integer value for tiny int. When I say 0 to 255, it has only positive value. So this will be known as unsigned integer. Same for small int, the ranges are given. Okay, next we'll move to fixed point data type. Here we have numeric and decimal. When we talk about decimal, okay, so if I have entered the number as 10.523 and I have said pass the value decimal 5,3. So here it will only consider 5 and 3 digits. When I say numeric P, S for salary, the numeric value will be 7,2. Here I'll have 50,000.00. When I say floating point data type, so floating point has the byte size of 4 and double has 8. So everyone knows about floating point. If I say I want 5 digits and after that I'll have, after point I want 3 digits. So here only 3 digits are considered after decimal. We'll see another useful data types. So other than numeric values or string values, we come to date and time data types. So we have date. It is used to represent the date in the format as YYY, that is the year, then we have MM and DD. So first year, then month, and then day. So this is applicable, this particular format is applicable for 1st January 1000 till 31st December 9999. So if I consider an example as 7th June 2020, so the output is going to be, or we have to write like this, 2020/06, that is the month, and this is the date. When we say date and time, when I want to represent the date with time as hours, minutes, seconds, then I'll use date and time data type. So this is applicable from 0 till, so here it is considered as 24-hour time. So it goes till 23, 59, 59, and this is the fraction. Same if I want 7th June 2020 and the time is 9:30 AM, then I'll write as 2020, that is the year, then I'll write the month, date and time. So here time represents as hour, minute and seconds. If you know the fraction, you can also include that. Then I have timestamp. It is used for well-defined or exact point of time. So here the condition is given for what it works. Here I have taken as 7th June 2020 and the time is 2:05 PM. So it is 2020, 06, that is the month, date is 7th, and here the time. So here we are following 24 hours format. So 2 is represented as 40, time is 05, and here seconds and the fraction I have just considered as 21.500. Here the string, date and time data types should be, or this type of data should be written within the quotes. Numeric data types does not require to be written in quotes. Next we will see SQL commands or SQL subqueries. So SQL commands are divided as DDL, DML, DCL and TCL languages. So DDL is data definition language, DML data manipulation language, DCL data control language and TCL transaction control languages. We'll see one by one. Let's start with DDL, data definition language. It actually consists of SQL commands that can be used to define database schema. It simply deals with description of database schema and it is used to create and modify the structure of database objects in database. So DDL deals with structure of the database or SQL objects, database objects. We have 4 commands under DDL. Those are create, alter, drop, truncate. As the name suggests, create, this is the keyword. Again, I have written all the keywords in upper cases. Create is used to create a new database, table, index or stored procedure. Alter is used to add, delete, modify columns. Drop is used to drop the existing table. Truncate is used to delete the data inside the table but not the database table itself. When we talk about DDL or the structure of the table will require constraints. Now why constraints? What is the requirement of constraints? Let's see. So constraints can be specified when the table is created with the create table statement. Let's see the definition and what are the different types of constraints that can be used. SQL constraints are used to specify rules for data in the table. It is used to limit the type of data that can go into the table. It ensures the accuracy and reliability of data in the table. Let's see what are the different types of constraints that we can use while creating a table. We have 7 constraints: not null, unique, primary key, foreign key, check, default, and index. So as the name suggests, not null ensures the column cannot have not null value. When I create a table and I use constraint as not null for name, consider I have a column named as student name. It can't be null. Otherwise, I won't be able to identify the student if the name is not there. So I can apply this type of constraint. Next, I have unique. It ensures that all values in the column are different. Now, if I apply this unique to student's name, then no, it's not unique. Like Ram, this is a student name. It can be of many students. So, unique constraint can be applicable for phone number. So, no phone number of the student will be same. So, it will be unique. Next, we have primary key. It is a combination of not null and unique. When I apply primary key to a particular column, consider roll number, then roll number should not be null and it should not be repeated. So, I'll say primary key. Next is foreign key. It uniquely identifies a record or a row in the another table, used to link two tables together. When I say I have applied primary key to roll number of a student, that particular primary key I can use that in another table. So that particular column will be referred, or that particular primary key will be referred as foreign key in another table. It will be helpful for linking or joining two tables together. Next, we have check. It ensures that all values in the column satisfies a specific condition. Default. It sets default value for a column when no value is specified. When I don't know what is the exact value of that particular row or a column, then I'll use default value so that no useless information is entered. Last, we have index constraint. It is used to create and retrieve data from database quickly. Let's move to DML. We have data manipulation language. This is used, or this language is used to store, modify, retrieve, delete and update data in the database. So DML actually works with data here. Before moving to DML, the structure of the table should be created. Once the table is created, now we can select the data, we can insert new data, we can update that particular data, we can also delete a particular data or whole data. Next, we have DCL. Once I have created a data, we have entered everything. Now, if I want to control that data, like no one should access to that data. It can only view, but it cannot edit. So for this, we have two privileges. First is grant command and second is revoke command. Grant is used to provide any user access privileges or other privileges for the database. Revoke. The main purpose of revoke command is cancelling the previously denied or granted permission. So grant allows to give access newly to the database, and revoke to remove those permissions. Next we have TCL. TCL is transaction control language. Now what do you mean by transaction? When we say SQL, it is a single query, but when we execute multiple queries, then it will be known as transaction. So when we execute many SQL queries, so I can commit those queries, I can roll back, or I can use save point. Now what is commit? Commit is used to permanently save any transaction into database. Once commit is used, you cannot change the data. This option is valid only with DML commands. Why DML commands? Because it works for data, only data. There is no relation or connection with DDL, as this is dealing with structure and this is dealing with completing data. So yeah, we are storing or saving the data permanently. When I say save point, it is used to temporarily save the data transaction so that you can roll back that to the point whenever required. Now when I say roll back, what is exactly roll back? It is undoing the changes. Next, what are the best practices that we need to understand while executing SQL queries? So I have mentioned out only 4 things which are most important. First is use of ad hoc software. Now when I say use of ad hoc software, here it means we are going to use for this series Microsoft SQL Server. So consider this is a software or a system where whenever I'll write a query for keywords or for queries, it will show me an error with different colors. The keywords will be with different colors. So it will be helpful to know which are the keywords, and that should not be used as a variable. Next, clean and good code. When I say clean and good code, when I want to take a purchase number of the company, I won't write purchase number of company. It becomes a long variable. So we can make a short variable name. And the clean and good code also means it should not be understandable to the computer. It should be understandable to the user who is going to use that. Use meaningful short names for variables. Here I've taken an example of roll number. I can write roll underscore number, roll number together, only RNO, but I can write roll space number. So variable can't be written like this. So variables are nothing but, here I can say these are the column names. So space should not be there for variables. This is same as what you have studied for C, C++, Java. So variable name doesn't have blank spaces. It should be either connected together or connected with special symbol underscore. Make use of comments whenever that particular query or code is not required. In next lesson, we'll be starting with the hands-on on SQL query using Microsoft SQL Server. That's it for today. Stay tuned for the next video.